All right, let's dive right in. We're about to get into one of the most famously bleak, wonderfully strange, and just deeply puzzling plays of the 20th century, Samuel Beckett's masterpiece of misery, Endgame.
Right from the jump, with the very first line from the servant, Clove, we are thrown into a world completely obsessed with its own ending. I mean, the play basically starts with the end. Or does it? And that, right there, is the huge, haunting question at the heart of this play. This is a story about an ending that just seems to be permanently stuck on pause. A final moment that feels like it could stretch on forever. So, to really get a grip on this, we've got to talk about where we are. Because in Endgame, the setting isn't just some backdrop, it's practically a character all on its own. So, picture this. This is it. This is the last place on Earth. A single, bare room. And those two little windows, they just show us a world that is totally and completely dead. Clove describes the outside as gray, zero, and even, get this, corpsed. There is nothing left out there. Our characters are trapped inside what might be the very last shelter. Now, here's what's so brilliant about the structure. Beckett wrote this as one long, continuous act. No breaks, no intermission, nothing. He wants you, the audience, to feel that same suffocating, relentless feeling of entrapment that the characters do. You don't get to escape, either. So, who exactly is trapped in this room? Well, let's meet our two central players, locked in one of the most bizarre and codependent relationships you'll ever see. The master, Ham, and his servant, Clove. This, right here, lays out their whole dynamic perfectly. Just look at the contrast. Ham, the master, is blind and he can't stand up. Clove, the servant, can see and walk just fine, but he can't sit down. One is paralyzed in his chair. The other is in this constant stiff motion. It's like they're two broken halves of a single person, totally dependent on each other just to get through the day. Their whole relationship is just this endlessly repeating loop, and you can see it perfectly in this iconic little back and forth. It kicks off with Ham asking the most obvious question. And Clove, of course, just throws the question right back at him. You can tell he hates Ham, but he's still there, doing his duties, day in and day out. And Ham's answer? Wow. It's so simple and so absolutely heartbreaking. In a world that's already over, their miserable little partnership is literally all that's left. And Clove's reply is the final nail in the coffin. He can't leave because there is literally nowhere else to go. So you see, they are each other's prisoner and jailer, locked together in a room at the very end of the world. But wait, it gets weirder. Ham and Clove aren't totally alone in there. The room actually has two other inhabitants, and this is where things get even more strange. Let's meet Ham's parents. Yep, you heard that right. Nag and Nell are legless, and they live inside two trash cans. They kind of pop up every now and then for a biscuit and to reminisce about a world that doesn't exist anymore. You know, a world with bicycles and boat rides on Lake Como. They are literally the rubbish of the past, just sitting there in bins. And it's Nell, from inside her trash can, who delivers what might be the philosophical core of the entire play. In a world of total suffering, maybe the only thing left to do is find the dark, twisted humor in it all. Okay, so throughout the play, Ham, who really fancies himself a great artist, is trying to finish this story of his. He calls it his chronicle, and it seems to hold a big clue about how their world ended up like this. It's a really fragmented story, but if you piece it together, it paints a picture of some past catastrophe. A man comes crawling to Ham, begging for food for his son, and Ham struggles with whether it's even moral to save someone, only to condemn them to, well, to this. And here's the kicker, it's pretty heavily implied that this starving little kid was Clove. So this all brings us to the play's climax, or maybe it's more of an anticlimax. After all this weeding, all this routine, something finally happens that threatens to break the cycle for good. Clove, looking through his telescope, just like he always does, sees the impossible. A small boy, a sign of life, a potential future. And this sends both of them into a complete panic. And this is the crisis, right? Does this boy represent hope, a chance for a new beginning? Or is he just the first step in starting the whole miserable cycle of suffering all over again? They decide to just ignore him, to preserve their own ending. And with that, Clove finally does it. He says he's leaving,
For real this time. He gets dressed in his traveling coat, he picks up his suitcase, and he stands there, ready to walk out the door forever. This is it. The end of the game. Except he doesn't leave. He just stands there, motionless, watching Ham. And the curtain falls on this frozen, haunting image, an action that started but is never finished, an escape that never actually happens. And that final frozen picture, that says everything. The title, Endgame, is a chess term, for the final stage of a game. But here, the result is a stalemate. A perfect deadlock, where nobody can win and nobody can even move. The end has arrived, but it can't resolve itself. So the question Beckett leaves us with is a really profound one. What does it mean to be alive when the game is already over and your only move is to not move at all?